Let's do it.
Welcome. My name is Wanda Rochelle, and I want to welcome you to my channel. Today, we are talking about all things related to prison ministry, and I have a special guest here with me today. I have the one and only, and I'm going to repeat that because if you ever see another one, the one and only, your favorite PO, and I'm going to allow her to introduce herself.
Hey, everybody. I'm Brittany, better known as your favorite peel across social media. Thank you for having me, Wanda.
Awesome. Welcome, Brittany. So, for anyone that's watching, the first thing I want to do is just give a definition of what a PO is because I don't want to assume that everyone that's watching this video today knows what a PO is. So let's break that down for our audience.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so in my instance, it stands for probation officer. I was a probation officer for almost 5 years in the state of Texas. I supervised over 150 adults at any given time on my caseload. So that means, they get out of jail, they have to come and see me, and they see me monthly for whatever term of supervision the judge gives them. And a PO could also be a parole officer. So there's a slight difference between the two, but I can explain it in more detail.
So since we're already there, what's the difference between a probation officer and a parole officer?
With the job duties are really similar, but with parole, you're getting out of prison. So you were sentenced to prison and you get early release and you get out on parole. But with probation, you get a suspended sentence, so you may never even see the inside of a prison, but your term is suspended and they place you on probation. So those offenses are typically less severe, less harsh.
Okay. All right. So now you said you could manage 150 caseload. That's a lot of people. So these former inmates, they would report to you. Is it once a month? What does that look like?
Typically, yes, the standard is once a month. But sometimes if things ain't going right, you gotta make them come in a little bit more often. But
Okay.
you see them in the office, we see them at their house, and sometimes at their job, just depending on the circumstances of the case.
Okay. All right. So when you say things aren't going right, let's talk about that. What does that
If
look
there's
like?
a violation, if they're not following the court order, if there's some substance abuse issues, anything that we need to address and to get them back on track, we just see them in the office more often so that we can make sure that they complete what they need to complete and get off in time.
Okay, awesome. So let me just pause here for everyone that's watching. Again, my name is Wanda Rochelle, and I have your favorite PO here. And on my channel, I love to talk about all things prison ministry because I have been a volunteer. I reside in Georgia in the Department of Corrections since 1999, and I was sharing with Brittany that sometimes, I've met people in 1999, and now some of them are out, some of them out on parole or out on probation or out clear. And so when I ran across her page on social media, I went in her DM, like everybody does, and invited her to my page because I wanted her to be able to just share from her experience what it's like to be a PO, a probation officer. So, how long were you a probation officer?
Yeah, it was almost 5 years, and I stopped doing it back in 2020. The midst of the pandemic and all of that, and then I started doing probation consulting. So I just work with individuals one on one. They reach out to me. I also work with businesses, and I help them with anything probation related that they need.
Okay, awesome. Wait a minute, a probation consultant.
Yes.
So now I just said I've been doing prison ministry since 1999. I had never heard of that. So how were you inspired to do that? Did you meet another probation consultant or one day you just woke up and said, hey, I'm about to.
I'm gonna tell you this. It kind of fell into my lap, and I say that because even posting on social media in general kind of fell into my lap. People were asking me questions about the life of a PO. So I started doing videos on YouTube. What was this back in, I think, 2018?
Mm-hmm.
I was doing videos consistently about probation, and I would answer questions for people who wanted to become probation officers, as well as questions for people who were actually on probation. So they kept asking me and asking me, so I was like, I'll make a video, and then everybody can see it.
Wow.
And then it kind of kept going from there, kind of snowballed. So it went from YouTube to Instagram to TikTok, Facebook, all the things.
Hmm.
And after I quit my job, there was still a need there. People were still reaching out to me. So I kind of created this, to be honest. I
Wow.
don't people think I'm the originator, but I've never met another one either.
Wow.
So yeah.
So you are a trailblazer. That's what we call people like you.
Oh,
Yes.
I take that. I receive that.
Kudos to you. So tell me, and you said you were a probation officer for five years. What
Almost 5 years. Yep.
what does a typical 8-hour day look
For
like?
me in Texas, most of my time was spent in the office, okay? And outside of the office, it would be in court. So it's like office or court. So I'm seeing people inside the office all day doing drug tests, watching them pee in the cup, making sure I probably would see 10 to 12 people per day.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not seeing the people in the office, like I said, we go to their house as well. So there's a couple of days where my full day would be out in the field going to visit people.
Mm-hmm.
And then there would be sometimes I would have a full day, full 8 hour day in court. So it's very varied, but I like that about the job because you don't get bored. There's
Wow.
always something to do.
So now why would you go to someone's home? And that's why would you have to go to their house?
Typically, we go to verify their address and see that they actually live where they say they live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Now, in
And
different instances, if people are on probation for different things, maybe a sex offense or assault, sometimes you actually have to go in their house, search through their things to make sure there's nothing. Yeah.
oh,
Make
wow.
sure there's nothing illegal in there. We got to keep the community safe. At the end of the day, a probation officer's job is to keep the community safe.
Mm. So how did you get a job as a probation officer? Was it just, you know, you saw the position?
I did a whole YouTube video about this. I'm so glad you asked. It was one of those things where there was building a probation office near my house, and I was driving by, and my husband and I were in the car, and I was like, I could do that. And he's like, Yeah, you could do that. And then I applied for the job, and I got it. Like
Wow.
the only thing that I knew about probation and parole was like from the experiences my mom had when she was on probation and parole, on the
Mhm.
experiences my other family members had. But on the other side of the desk, I had never heard about it, experienced it. You know what I mean? So when I got the job, I was a little bit naive as to what it would really be, but I ended up really, really, really liking it.
Wow. Awesome. So now you are in Texas, and prior to us getting on this live, I was interested in wanting to know how many people are on parole in Texas. And I don't know how accurate Google is. And the stats that it gave me are a few years old, but it is almost 400,000 people that are on probation. And that's a lot of people. And it also stated that Texas, where you reside, is the largest, is the state that has the largest number of incarcerated people. Why do you think that is?
I think a couple of contributing factors is the size of our state, of course. There's a lot of people here. And then secondly, we still have some laws or some things that are illegal, like marijuana use, for instance, that other states have legalized. So Texas criminalizes things a lot more, from my experience, than other states.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's real Republican, it's real red over here.
Wow.
That's my little 2 cents.
That's right. That's your, hey, we all entitled to our opinion, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because this is my show. You
So
have,
we're gonna keep it real. We're gonna keep it real.
and you have the mic right now. Wow. 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 Let's see what else. So what's the longest time frame that you've seen someone on probation?
Like the longest time that I've supervised somebody, or what the term of supervision that I've seen them have.
That their sentence, if the judge.
Okay.
Mhm.
The max is 10 years. So I've seen somebody on for 10 years, and then that case actually was deferred, and they had got the case adjudicated, meaning when they signed for probation, the judge gave them an option to where if they finished the term of probation, then they could potentially get it off their record. So it was not a conviction. But the person didn't complete everything within that 10-year span. So
Hmm.
they got another 10 years on top of that. So it ended up being 20 years that the person was on probation. But I've talked to a lot of POs across America, and there's some that are on probation for life.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I guess to the person that's incarcerated, that's better than being behind the jail cell.
Which I think so too. But on my Facebook page, like on my social media pages, there's so many people who tell me I would never do probation. Just give me the time. I'm like, no, it couldn't be me because I'm not doing that.
Oh, so but probation, just to make sure that everyone's watching, that they understand this, and let me just say this: make sure you share the video because people definitely need this information. But probation means they have to come to report to you once a month, and sometimes probation involves fees.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cheap at all. And the department that I worked for, the fees was $60 per month. But that's not including like other fees you have to take for classes and court costs and fines. Those are all separate fees. So it could get real expensive real quick. Hmm.
And in my experience, I've learned some of the people that I knew that were incarcerated when they got out, Brittany, if they were on probation, they had to report the next month. They had to pay, let's say, like it was the $60 that you said. They were supposed to pay that, and they didn't even have a job,
Yeah, it's real.
which makes no sense.
A lot of states are trying to do like kind of either decrease the fees or do away with that part of it because that is a huge hindrance. So a
Hmm.
lot of reform is happening. So hopefully those things won't trip people up anymore. Because I've supervised cases where I had to extend their probation because they couldn't pay the money off in time, which
Wow,
is sad. Like that was the only thing holding them back. They just didn't have the money.
wow, and that speaks to why someone that gets out may not have hope. You know what I'm saying? You get out, you've done your time if you were guilty, because in my experience, not everybody incarcerated is guilty. So
Right.
if you were guilty and you paid your price, you know, in jail and now you get out and you don't have a job, that's discouraging.
That is, that is.
Mm.
But the role of a probation and a parole officer is also to help them get employment and connect
Okay.
them with services that could help them pay the fees or connect them with services that could help them um, do whatever it is that they need to do to finish the probation. So
Okay.
I always like to talk about that as well. Because we know that it's hard as a PO, you know that it's hard, it's difficult, it's a transition, but that's why we're supposed to be helping them.
Okay. Now that I did not know that it was their duty to help them find a job.
Yeah.
Mhm. So are all probation officers created equal? We
I
keeping it
think you know
real.
the answer.
We oh, I just want, but see, we're educating the community, so I know the answer. But yeah, I'll let.
Sometimes, I feel like there's going to be some that help more than others.
Mm-hmm,
Uh, and I also like to tell people if you find yourself in a situation where your probation officer is really not assisting you,
mm-hmm.
don't keep your mouth closed. Like, say something so people can maybe help you get another PO or whatever the case may be. We don't want you to be trapped in the system and nobody's helping you. Somebody should be helping, okay?
Right. Good. This is good. Awesome. Let me see. So, what is you said 10 years is probably the longest time frame. What's the shortest time frame that you
Six
said?
months.
Six.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So I want to also talk about the fact that when I watch your videos, that you also talk about on your page that you are a two-time breast cancer survivor. And so to you, I want to say praise God first of all, because only God could do that. And you so beautiful. I was telling you, I was showing your page to my teenage daughter, just to kind of let her know what I'm doing. I said, I'm getting ready to interview this lady. And when I showed her your page, she said, oh, mama, she's so pretty. So I say that to say you don't look like what you've been through.
See, God, with God, you can do all things, right? Thank you so much. Yes, I did battle breast cancer twice. I went through chemotherapy twice in my life. The
Wow.
first time I was diagnosed was at the age of 29, and it pretty much crushed me, as you could imagine. But thank God I'm still here and I'm cancer free.
Praise God. Praise God. I salute you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yes, God is faithful. So let me see. I want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Is it something that you want to share?
Yes, if you have somebody in your life who's on probation or parole, not if it even if it's not you, try to be a support for that person because a probation officer can only do so much. And a strong support system really, really, really does help people get through it successfully. So I always want to encourage people to help your neighbor, okay? Help your neighbor. And let's remove this negative stigma that comes with probation because it could be somebody on probation who's never been in trouble a day in their life, and just so happened they're 65 years old and something happens. Like I've seen that personally. So, like, just be kind and help people out.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because even when I volunteered in the prisons, Brittany, it would break my heart to see elderly people behind prison walls. I'm talking about 70, 80 years old.
It's like, granted, we don't know what happened, or everybody has a story, right?
Right.
Um, but I do feel like everybody deserves a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when you on probation, I feel like that is a second chance. So give people the benefit of the doubt, help them out, and let's remove this negative stigma that's attached to it.
Yeah. I want to say this too. If anyone's watching, I remember you saying a few minutes ago that the probation officer will help them find a job. So if you're watching this and you are an entrepreneur, you own your own company, whatever it is, if God placed it on your heart to reach out to the government or however they would do that to provide a job for these people, that would be great. Would be amazing. Hmm.
Absolutely necessary. If you
Yes.
know any company, even if it's not your own company, or you know a company that's hiring people who have criminal histories, spread the word. Post
Yes.
it on social media because people really have a hard time finding employment after that.
It's
So
true.
help
So
your neighbor. I'm telling you, help your neighbor.
help your neighbor. I like it. Talk about your shirt that you have on.
Oh, this one. I created this. It says probation, and the middle is BAE, and the BAE stands for freedom before all else. So, it's my mission, like I said, to remove this negative stigma and highlight the positive work that probation officers do, and to just spread the word that people on probation are not bad people. Because it's always a negative narrative when I hear about probation. So that was another reason why I started making content. Because I'm like, it's not all bad, y'all. What people think is like the worst thing on the planet. I'm like, it's really not. It could be a positive thing.
Awesome. So has anybody from uh the government or anybody reached out to you regarding you educating people on the probation process?
I would like to shout out Reform Alliance. I don't know if you're familiar with Meek Mill, the rapper. He was on probation, and his case was like a huge thing, all on the news and on social media. Whereas the judge sentenced him back to jail after popping a wheelie or something with his bike. He was on probation, and the judge sent him back. I think he went back for 2 years or something like that, just
Hmm.
for popping a wheelie. But Reform Alliance was co-created with him, and they are actually going state to state, helping laws get changed to actually help the people on probation. So there's one bill that just recently got passed. I think it was in Iowa or was it in California, where it shortened the amount of time that they can even put somebody on probation for. So I always like to shout them out. It's Reform Alliance. You can go on Instagram and find them, or I think it's reformalliance.com as well. So yeah, the change is happening.
Good. And sometimes change is slow, but it's good.
Yeah,
Yes.
we didn't get here overnight. So of course the change is not gonna come overnight either. But there is something that you can do. There's something that we all can do. We can participate and help change these things to make it better.
Awesome. Um, while we're talking about change for everyone that's watching, now my profession, I'm a real estate agent and I'm actually licensed to sell in Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. So if you're watching this video and you want to buy, sell, or invest, you can reach out to me. Of course, my contact information will be in the bottom in the description area, as well as I'm going to add Brittany's contact information. But I want everyone to know that as a real estate agent, I desire to see men and women that are incarcerated purchase a home. And so I have a program. It's called From the Prison to Your Palace. And that's based off of the scripture reference where Joseph went from the prison to the palace. And so I encourage those that are incarcerated to purchase a home. It's possible if you're watching this. Um, I've been a real estate agent. I'm now actually a broker and open my own brokerage, but I have actually sold, Brittany, get this, houses to people that I ministered to that were in jail.
I love that.
I
I
mean,
love that.
they were incarcerated. I went in as a minister, did a church service or did a one-on-one counseling session with them. They got out and found me on Facebook on my business page, came in my DM and said, "Hey, Minister Wanda, I remember you. Can you help me buy a house?" And I have several success stories. And so it is definitely possible to the point that I'm now creating a program to be able to assist more people to do that from the prison to your
To the
palace.
past. That's
Yes,
impact. Thank you. That is major impact right there.
yes, yes, it's possible. It's so possible. So let me make sure I have not forgotten anything. You talked about your consulting services. How can people reach you? What's your social media
Okay,
name?
so across social media is your favorite PO. So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, your favorite PO. You can also go to yourfavoritepO.com.
Awesome. Your favorite PO. Yes, I love it. I love it. So I don't have anything else. I'm so excited. Thank you for joining me today, Brittany. This has been amazing. I'll have to have you come back on the show. And I just speak blessings to you. This is not big enough. It's not. You have you ain't seen nothing yet, Brittany. Yes. Mhm.
Thank you. I receive all of it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for reaching out to me. This was a great opportunity. Even to learn what you're doing is huge. So I'm gonna have you on my Facebook Live too, okay? So we
Awesome.
can tell the people what you got going on because they need to know that.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm speaking over your life that doors are gonna open for you, doors with big rooms. Yes.
Look at
Yes.
that. Look at God. Amen. Hmm.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for again to Brittany, your favorite PO, and I appreciate you. Please like, subscribe, and share the video.
Thank y'all. Bye.